Yo, what's good, Soul Tribe? You know what it is. You know what's the vibe. Always love, man. Always for the highest vibration, the highest sensation for the nation. You know, that's the declaration. Hey, we out here, man. It's G3E, the one and only, your host doing the most. Welcome to another episode of the Daily Spread, where we take the journey within, and on this path we are led. Thank you to God, our angels, our guardians, our ancestors, for wishing us well. And in the highest vibration of love we dwell. I'm on one of my walks today, and just been thinking about so many different things, and here we are. I'm about to share. So thank you for being here with me. Let's go in. Ooh, actually today I said the intro, all good and well. Granted, I remixed it a little bit, but without even looking. Repetition is the mission ultimately. You dial something in, it becomes habitual, it becomes a routine, and it just, form follows function. It just ends up being so normal. It becomes, like I'm saying, habitual. It's an extension of who you are, an extension of yourself, and you don't have to think about it anymore. You just execute. You've activated that new mode. So, if you're trying to do something and get it ingrained, do it some more. But yeah, I think that's a little side message coming through right now. But yeah, man, for today, what I've been thinking about is why endings are so painful. Like, why must endings be painful? It's so interesting, like how I think of situations that I've wanted to leave, or that I have left, maybe a relationship, maybe a job, even leaving home. I look at all of these situations, and all of them have had some kind of pain, whether it was my pain or somebody else's pain, or has conflict. Can we ever just end a situation and it be kumbaya, be smiles all around? And I started to think to myself, damn, maybe that's it's actually the thoughts that's coming to mind right now is even in death, the person who's dying, if they've lived a good life, they'll go over to the other side, or you transition in a good state. But the people that they leave behind, they're the ones that are in pain. I'm just thinking right now, can any transition be pain-free, ultimately? Conflict-free, worry-free, anger-free? Granted, if we think about these words that I'm saying, they come across as negative. But I think that's the challenge in this, is to say, whenever there is a change in energy, that is a gift in itself. Yes, the energy appears as something that is perceived as negative, but it's actually a gift. On this gift of us being alchemists, the great magicians, we need energy to work with. If there's always peace and happiness and stuff, some people don't know how to use that energy for good. So conflict is a playground. Conflict likes its stage. It wants to be acknowledged. It wants to find itself in a place where it can reenact, that it can actually have an impact or an effect on the people in the surrounding, area. And I put it in this way because, something that I started to think about, which is, how do we start to view energy as being more metaphorical? Yo, this guy just walked past me and gave me a script. Yo. And even that, there's an energy of fear that just came over me for 2 seconds. Because you know what? I also needed energy to work with. Goodness gracious. Yo, man, that gave me a fright. And that's what fright is, right? It finds you when you're least expecting it. And that's the energy that needed to come through at this time. Yo, be on alert, bruh. Don't just walk. You know where you at? You in a country that has, crime. But yeah, I laugh, but it's fucked up. It's messed up, granted. But truth is, you gotta be alert. You gotta pay attention, because that's what the energy is, right? These energies are trying to catch us off guard when we least expect it. Because if I think about the situation that I'm like pondering on, it's like I'm, in a period where things are transitioning, things are ending, the project is ending, my time with the team is ending, and you're trying to leave the project on a good note, leave the team on a high note, but someone just, picks the bear there, pokes the bear or pricks the bear, like however you want to look at it. But you just gotta start something. You just gotta project something. There'll always be that guy, you know what I mean? And here we are thinking to ourselves like, oh my goodness, what is it, hey? Is it just my energy? Is it just my presence, my essence that startles people so much? But then again, I start to think back to it. It's like, if we can look at energy as more metaphorical, like, oh, okay, when there's an ending, that is the perfect stage or playground for some certain energies to like take root or to exist in. So when there's an ending, it's an invitation for pain, for conflict, for disarray. All of these things are like energies or gods, if you want to call it that. There's like a god of love, there's a god of joy, a god of happiness. So imagine all of these quote unquote negative energies are coming to the party now. They're like, yeah, there's an ending. Ooh, we're invited. We are about to show up, and let's see who's going to show up the most. Let's see who's going to have the greatest impact on this situation. But then that's me flipping the situation around now, being like, hey, actually, this is an energy to work with, because even at a party, when you have good people at the party, hey, it's good, bruh. Like, the party is lekker. The party is nice. It's going down. It's going down in a DM, like, some people who you never see, who stay hidden, who stay in the DMs, stay in the chats, come out to play. What you see in the dark comes to the surface. And that's the revelation. So some things, exist. It doesn't mean that we don't see them or we don't acknowledge them. But they'll have a stage to come forward. They'll have a platform. It's like, it's my time now. So there I am now realizing like, oh shit, when there's an ending, it's the perfect time for someone to start some shit. Because that energy now has a platform, And I think it's for me to remind myself to not feel so bad that endings are painful. Endings are the playground for conflict and these other energies to exist. Because again, if I'm the alchemist and I can transmute energy, then the universe is offering me energy to work with. Like, well, you're leaving this job, you're leaving this relationship. Well, here's some energy to work with. Let this be a reminder of exactly why you're leaving. Let this be a reminder of why you're being propelled forward. And maybe the energy that comes from these endings is exactly what we need. Because this energy is a release. In any time that we want something, a blessing is an energy for a blessing to be released. We do so many things. We do good deeds. We do acts of service. But then again, it's that energy being transmuted. We manifest, we attract, we use our minds to channel energy, to attune to energy. So now, why are we not taking advantage of these quote-unquote bad energies and also using them to our advantage? Why do we associate with all good things happening with good energies only? I'm even thinking about that saying about how they say two wrongs don't make a right. And granted, yes, in some cases, sure. But there are some cases where I'm starting to I'm even starting to question that. Like, actually, maybe, what's your perception of what's right? Honestly, we have to challenge that. We have to challenge that. And this is not coming from an ego place or anything. But what? Some people do bad things, quote unquote, again, bad things to have a good outcome. Because, just think about those people who, for example, in these countries, I think there was one of these, I don't know if I can say this because, I don't know if YouTube's going to ban me or something, but, You know, those people who attach things to themselves that have a countdown, and then they press a button and there's a big reaction, there's an explosion, right? So those people, just think about how those people live their lives. They doing something that's quote unquote bad, but then on the other side of it, to them it's good. It's like, yo, I'm doing this for my people. I'm doing this for myself in the afterlife. I'm doing this to uplift my, my lineage, my faith, my belief. And who are we to tell them that they are wrong? Who are we to convince them of otherwise, So again, this is just to inspire thought, inspire some thinking as to why do we experience the things that we experience when we are experiencing them. Ooh, I said a lot of experience there. And you know what? That's all it is. You have to live through it. You have to go through it. Who are we to think that we are going to be exempt from challenges or to avoid being tested, being taken through the fire, taken through the storm, experiencing all the elements, all the dichotomies, all the facets of life, and not think that we're going to come out on the other side different. We will change. We will rearrange. And sometimes they're going to say it's strange. The boy got to rhyme all the time. Hey. But yo, man, the moment I started to realize and accept that, all the endings, whether it's of my own creation or of somebody else's creation, it was a time for energy to be released. And the worst thing that I can do is mope and moan and stuff, rather than take an opportunity to work with that energy. I can't be scared of quote-unquote bad energy. Why? Life is gonna life. Things are gonna happen. But it's a matter of what am I gonna do about it? What am I gonna do with it? What am I gonna do through it? And I'm reminded that, things are happening for us, not to us. So I go back to my studious nature and I ask myself hey, actually, how can I learn from this? What if this ending is actually a beginning and it's just my perception of it that makes me see it as such? I don't have to see an ending as a bad thing, even though I'm going to disagree with someone, even though someone's going to cry, even though someone's going to lie, somebody's going to fly at the same time. What you might see as a bad situation is actually good for somebody else. Think about it this way. In South Africa, when we had, the electricity cuts, the load shedding, granted, there are multiple people who are affected and, they don't have access to electricity. But if you were in the business of generators, of natural energy generation, woo-wee! Your business must have been booming. Yo, you busting out the gym with them numbers, bruv. You on another level right now. And that's just how the world works. Because you know what? We all praying to the same God. That one person's praying, can my business do better? But then when they pray for their business to do better in solar or in generators and stuff, they're not thinking, this is the outcome that I want. I want load shedding to affect the whole nation. No. They just want to be good at their business. But then it just so happens that that's how it manifests. That's just how the energy, found its playground, found its stage. So, man, it's easy to be misunderstood. It's easy for things to be received in a way that we don't want or perceive not to want. But then I even start to have to ask. I even have to start asking myself, English. What if the thing that I've actually desired or my energy has presented this answer or, this solution, this answered prayer or guidance in a way that I'm not going to expect, because then it means that I'm also limiting the way that God, the universe, my angels, my ancestors are gonna act in my life. What if this is exactly like I mentioned a few minutes ago, the energy that I need? Exactly. But I just don't see it, fully. I don't understand it fully. So how about just flowing with the energy, man? Working with the energy, making the most of it, because there's something on the other side, right? So let's detach ourselves from the outcome. Let's detach ourselves from how things look and just remember who we are, remember our intentions. Remember that there will be disagreements. There will be people who see things differently to us, who perceive things differently to us. And there'll also be energies that we are still yet to work with, transmute, take shape and form, make them malleable. And even when we don't know, we must just trust. Like, yo, gang, this is actually working in your favor, whether you realize it or not. Something's about to be exposed when you go around the corner. You know, hopefully it's not some criminal who's gonna like scare me. But by the way, it was actually a runner. You know, somebody, like I'm saying, I'm on my walk, this person's just jogging next to me, and I got freaked out. You know, you could even be scared from somebody doing the right thing for themselves. You know, interesting how this makes it into the message just like this. Like, this guy gives no fucks about me. He doesn't even give a crap that he's about to give me a fright. He's just focused on his own mission. Does he even know that he scared me or frightened me? Does he even know that he's introduced that emotion in me? But it's something that I chose. It's something that I reacted to, or was my, what do they call? I was about to say trauma response, but that's not a trauma. It could, maybe it is, who knows? I'm maybe even denying that within myself, because, you know, things have happened that have caught me off guard. But like, gang, how we respond to things, that's our choice. I didn't have to worry about him, you know, walking or jogging so closely to me. But it's because of the influences that I've had that I've now perceived it as such. Like, there's something wrong here. Or this guy's trying to do something. Like, you know what? I want to unlearn all that bullshit. I want to unlearn all that nonsense, because how is it serving me to live in fear, to live constrained, to live, you know, in this habitual cycle of, just be fearful, just worry. And oh wow, how this rounds it all the way back to how this how this message started. How crazy. Oh God, you cooking, my G, what up? It's like we continue to perpetuate these same thoughts, these same beliefs about how to live life, how to perceive life, how to even experience life, right? And then they become ingrained. And then we think it's normal to be scared, to be fearful. I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that. Nah, no ways, bro. I'm not about to play this game. I'm not about to play this game. I am not about to play this game. Like, I refuse at this point. You know what? For any construct, for any trap, for any snare, I know you're there, but you're being exposed and you're being decomposed, you know, like broken apart from whichever composition, from whichever state you had over me, over my life, you know. And you know what? I say this not only as a declaration for self, but I hope you can do it for yourself too, man. Realize that all of this bullshit, man, all of this constriction, restriction, like, want to keep us in this matrix, huh? Want us to forget that we're so powerful. And you know what? Somebody on the other side is inspired to continue perpetuating these narratives. And it's like, I see you. We're clocking this thing, gang. You know, we're seeing all of these different things. You know, it's like, let's create more division one time. You know, I was just checking out these other posts about people being part of this thing called Group 7. And I'm like, bruh, what's going on? And it turns out that, you know, somebody was testing the algorithm. And, you know, they put up like a few different posts. Granted, it was like kind of some genius marketing, if we're being like 100 and calling a spade a spade. I mean, she put out all these posts and had her music playing in the background. And as a fellow musician, you know what, I respect the marketing. But on the other side of it is to say, like, people just wanted to be part of Group 7. Like, gang, People want to associate with something. People want to identify with something. Yo, what if I'm Group G, gang? What if I'm Group Me? But do people even want to spend the time getting to know themselves, knowing what their group is? Oh, wow, I got to take a picture of this. Ooh, I got to take a picture of this. All these ducks over here chilling in position. Okay, hold up. You know what? I'm actually going to put this as the picture for this reading. And you know what? I think I'm going to stop it right here. Gang, much love. Much love. In fact, let me see if I can pause. Hold up. Ooh-wee. Yeah, man. Anyways, guys, we're back at it. I actually just noticed the number was like 229 at the time. So I'm definitely going to note that as like an angel number to include in this whole thing. But yeah, anyways, I don't know where I was, but... Oh, yes, belonging to a group. So it's like, can we get to a point where we no longer identify with the group? Where we actually become our own groups because we've seen ourselves, right? And I'm a group by myself because I'm this collection of cells. I'm this collection of experiences. I'm this collection of love, of different frequencies. I'm my own group. I'm the group. You know what I mean? Like, I'm the star of the show type of an energy. It's like we need to just see ourselves and stop trying to identify with something outside of ourselves. You know, this galaxy within, I'm a whole world, bruh. I'm so multifaceted, diverse, you know, because I'm the universe, gang. Universe. That singular body or collection of cells, mitochondria, membranes, electrons, protons, all of that, gang, all of that jazz, They gave us some sauce, man. They gave us that spice. And I don't want to give up my power. I don't want to give up my strength, to identify with things that, I don't know, give me a little bit of bragging rights for a certain moment in time. Because I'm going to say this right now, which is relevant for 2025, but there'll come a time when people are thinking to themselves, what the hell is Group 7? How did it even have an impact on consciousness, existence as a whole? Because it's just like a trend, right? Or these challenges that pop up on social media. It's like it comes through for a little while and then it's gone. And that's our lives. That's the experiences that we're going to have, because we are only just a speck of time. We are only just a fraction of the whole world, of all existence. And now I'm going to waste or fret that time, 223 that I'm seeing on the timer again. I actually stopped and started again because I was like, I don't know if I'm going to pause and lose this whole recording. I wasn't about to take that chance. I wasn't about to take that opportunity. And granted, I could learn from that opportunity, but other times you play it safe. And me playing it safe has led me to making certain decisions, Some of them which led to my greatness, and others which led to the opposite of being great, my downfall, my learning, ultimately. Because you know what? There's no failure. We're changing the thinking around that. I didn't fall. I learned something. And that comes through even with some of the readings I've done, because there've been times where, like, for example, the first reading I did when I was walking, that reading had some messed up audio. I have another reading where the camera didn't focus. And instead of being mad at myself, I ran with it. I went with this thing. I was like, all right, if this is the energy that we got to work with, then we got to work with the energy. So going back to how we started, gang, or part of where we started, it's like, don't be afraid to work with the energy. Even though it presents itself as quote unquote bad, what can you experience? What can you learn? What can you earn? Wisdom. And that's the greatest gift you can ever ask for. Knowledge. And to apply that knowledge, ooh-wee, you're cooking, my G. You're cooking. Cooking up the drip. Hey, man, we're the wizards out here. We have to explore. We have to also implore. Go within. That's what this is all about. And I just want to thank you for joining me today on my walk. For joining me on this journey within. And as always, I just hope that this has planted some good thoughts, some good thinking, some good seeds, and let them grow, let them manifest into other ideas that even you can take to teach others, to teach yourself, to apply, to be better, to be greater, and to be more studious. I send love and light your way. Peace, gang. Oneness. Yeah, yeah.